Cthulhu is a character from H.P. Lovecraft's Call of Cthulhu. In the story, Cthulhu is a great old one, who are aliens that came to Earth millions of years before humanity ever existed. He lives in a sunken, underwater city, where he's said to be dead but dreaming. In the story, a cult tries to summon Cthulhu, the mere presence of whom can cause insanity. Lovecraft's writings inspired a subgenre called cosmic horror, and in cosmic horror, humanity's view of reality is a very thin veil, and it hides the evil monstrosities that rule the universe. In many Lovecraftian stories, characters investigating the realm of Cthulhu's mythos generally go insane or have an untimely demise. Lovecraftian stories embody these themes: insanity, loss of hope, fear of the unknown, and the fact that humans are insignificant and small. Here are some examples of what Call of Cthulhu has inspired.
One representation of Lovecraftian and Eldritch horror is a game for the Nintendo GameCube called Eternal Darkness. Eternal Darkness is a game inspired by Lovecraft's monsters and has a plot similar to many of his stories. The game takes place across many different time periods, all following the story of one family and their fight to stop powerful beings called the Ancients from being summoned. The Ancients are very similar to Cthulhu and the Elder Gods. One major theme of the game is that you can't actually fight the Ancients themselves, only stop their influence. This is shown at the beginning of the game in a section taking place in ancient Rome, where the player controls the character of Pius Augustus, a Roman legionnaire. Pius is turned into an eternal slave simply by touching an artifact of the Ancients. The goal is to stop the summoning and not the beings themselves. The game scares the player not only through the use of atmosphere and effective tension building, but it also has a number of sound effects that are manifestations of how the characters are going insane. Some of these have really messed with players, the most famous being a fake error telling the player their save data was corrupted and that they would need to play the game over from the beginning again. The game also had a sanity effect where if you tried to save, it would instead delete your data and say that all of your save data was gone. The game was not met with initial financial success, but critically, it was met with major praise. The game's score on Metacritic, a site that calculates the average review of games, is a 91%. In addition, many that played it were affected by the sanity effects that allow the player to connect with the character. One review by IGN said that these effects are sure to set the dark mood of the adventure and have an impact on the play experience. The emphasis on sanity effects shows that the character is dealing with forces that are beyond this world, and it is having a profound effect on them. The next example of media is the board game Arkham Horror. The game takes place in the fictional town of Arkham based off the ones described in several Lovecraft stories. The game features a doom track where every turn the track advances, the players generally suffer a penalty of some kind, such as losing a helpful item. Should the clock reach its end, an ancient horror is summoned, and the players immediately lose the game. The board game is very complex, but most reviewers say that once they learned the rules, the game was impeccable at recreating the feel of Lovecraft. One reviewer in a column for Rock Paper Shotgun said that the game almost felt alive. The game knows, he kept saying. It seemed like every time he got an advantage that would help him win the game, something else gave him a disadvantage, or his advantage was made completely meaningless. This feeling of powerlessness is the central goal of the game and a staple of Lovecraftian horror.
Hi, my name is Jack Daniels, and I'm looking for Cthulhu's cult. I haven't found them in 3 years, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Took Jack 3 long years to find Cthulhu's cult. So who is Cthulhu to you? Well, the Great One is our leader. He is the High Priest, and he rules over everything in the universe. So what do you think of Lovecraft? You see, Lovecraft is a seer of the Great One. When writing, he drew from an inner cosmology and his tuition, which came from dreams that were bestowed upon him by the Great One. But isn't it just a story? It's more than a story. It's a way of life. You see my awesome tattoo? That's cool.